Here's Andy hauled out for the first maintenance. You can see her hull has got a lot of grunge on it from being in the river. That can be cleaned off, but yeah, and the trailer is just based on friction. Pretty crazy. Welcome to Seaword. That's New Westminster in the background there. It's a nice sunny day, probably the warmest day of the year so far, 17 degrees here. Andy is still out of the water. We knew when we got her that there was a recall notice on a seal in the engine. Thankfully it's not a walrus or an orca. So we brought her in for that and to get a few other things done, an anchor put on properly, etc. A bunch of little things that we knew we needed to be done. And so she's out of the water now. It's going to take a little longer to get one of the parts than we thought, so that's been a bit disconcerting for me. My wife and I, we were watching an episode of Grand Designs Australia, a show where people build one-off houses, and there was a couple about 60 years old, and he got cancer partway through the build, and said that what got him through the build and the cancer was having that build to look forward to. And I've had a lot of chronic pain and illness in the recent past, much better now, and I have found the boat to be something to think about and look forward to besides COVID, work, rehab, pain, etc. So I've been a bit discombobulated with Andy being out of the water, but these are the kinds of things that we all have to do in life. You have very little control over things, sometimes no control, and you just kind of got to suck it up and just feel whatever you're feeling at that time. So supposedly the part's going to be in at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. Regardless, we'll get the part, it'll get put on, we'll have all the other things done, and we're really looking forward to that. So that's it for this episode, and I wish you all well, and we'll talk to you soon.